Hey there, curious minds. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take that stack of sources and really pull out the essential nuggets, the surprising facts, maybe the deeper insights, just to help you stay well informed.
Yeah, get past the headlines.
Exactly. And today we're diving into a story that it really makes you think about fame, the law, and those powerful kind of unwritten rules of community.
Mm,
We're talking about Terrell Davis, better known in the hip hop world as the rapper Ralo.
right. A pretty well-known name.
Yeah, and his journey has been this complex legal maze, tangled up with some very serious allegations, and it all sparked this huge debate about credibility, loyalty, especially in the public eye.
It's that intersection, isn't it? The legal system and how the public sees things.
Totally. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to unpack the timeline of Rella's legal troubles, really look closely at these allegations of cooperation with authorities.
The snitching whispers.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
explore what it all meant, the implications, especially for his reputation in the hip hop community, which is, well, fiercely loyal.
Definitely a specific kind of pressure there.
So let's get into it. Let's see what we can learn about navigating the law when, the whole world is watching.
All right.
Okay, so let's jump right in where Rollo's story really starts to get dramatic. It all kicked off in April 2018. He gets arrested.
And these weren't small-time charges?
No way. Federal charges, marijuana trafficking, conspiracy. And the scale they talked about was huge. Nearly 1,000 pounds of marijuana
1,000 pounds.
found on private jets linked to him. I mean, that's a staggering amount. It points to a pretty sophisticated operation, right?
Absolutely. That's not personal use, clearly. It implies organization.
And it didn't stop there. The charges kept piling up: money laundering, racketeering.
Wow.
Yeah, the government even alleged that his record label, Famerica Records, was basically a front, just used for criminal activities.
Okay, so they were painting a picture of a whole enterprise.
Exactly. And when all this first hit, his initial bond request, denied, flat out.
Well, without bail.
Yeah, which really tells you how seriously the authorities were taking it from the get-go, given the federal nature, the scale. I mean, it was a really dire situation for him.
And those kinds of federal charges, conspiracy, money laundering, racketeering, they carry immense weight. We're not just talking about simple possession.
Right.
This implies, alleged organization, financial complexity,
Yeah.
stuff that brings very severe penalties, often really long sentences. And that initial denial of bond, like you said, wasn't just procedural.
No.
It was a clear signal from the courts. Flight risk, potential danger, basically trapping him in the system right away. But then things took a turn. In July 2020, which was, a fair bit later, he was actually granted bond, $250,000.
Which must have felt like a huge win at the time.
Oh, absolutely. A notable shift from that initial denial. Looked like maybe his legal team found a way through.
But
yeah, that glimmer of hope, really short-lived. Just 5 months later, December 2020, boom.
bond revoked.
And the reason why is kind of wild. It's pretty striking, yeah. He was found to have used an Apple Watch. An Apple Watch.
While incarcerated.
Well, incarcerated to arrange drug deals.
Wow. Okay.
So that raises this big question, right? What does that tell us about, the cat and mouse game between authorities and people trying to work the system, even from inside?
It shows some serious dedication, I guess. Or maybe desperation.
Yeah, it highlights the challenges of monitoring and, the ingenuity people use to keep connections going. But it certainly didn't help his case.
No kidding. That Apple Watch detail, it just adds another layer, doesn't it? The persistence, the resourcefulness, even locked up.
Misplaced ingenuity, perhaps.
Definitely didn't make things easier legally. Okay, so moving forward on the timeline, March 2022. Rinlo pleads guilty, multiple charges, facing the full weight of the feds.
Yeah, the guilty plea.
And his initial sentence was hefty, 97 months in federal prison. That's, over 8 years?
Over 8 years. A long time. Especially considering how long he'd likely already been in custody by then.
Right. But then we hit maybe the biggest surprise in this whole thing, a massive reduction.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting for the public perception part.
His sentence gets slashed down to just 20 months.
20. From 97.
Yeah. The official reason given was, good behavior and time served.
Standard factors, but still a huge drop.
And by November 2023, he's out. Released. So you go from looking at over 8 years to doing less than 2.
That's a monumental shift.
Absolutely. And that massive change, it totally set the stage for the next wave of controversy, the one that really lit up the internet and especially the hip-hop world.
And if you connect that huge sentence reduction to what came next, Well, the timing of these allegations is just crucial to understanding why people reacted so strongly.
Right, because the talk started almost immediately.
Yeah, the core of the controversy that really blew up after his release, though it was simmering even before, around May 2023, was all about these persistent allegations, cooperation with federal authorities.
The snitching rumors.
Exactly, that narrative just took over.
Hmm.
And it wasn't out of thin air. Documents reportedly surfaced, suggesting Ralo had given information during something called a proffer session.
Okay, what exactly is a proffer session for people who don't know?
So basically, a proffer session, sometimes they call it a queen for a day agreement. It's a formal meeting. Prosecutors meet with the defendant, or maybe a potential witness.
Okay.
And during this meeting, the defendant gives information, usually with the understanding that this info might lead to leniency, like a shorter sentence.
Ah, okay, so it's like a potential deal.
Kind of. It's a structured way for prosecutors to gather intelligence. Often the info isn't immediately usable in court against the person unless they later contradict it if they testify.
I see. So you can see how that plus the short sentence.
Exactly. It immediately fuels speculation.
Yeah.
Then, adding to that, a recorded phone call between Ralo and an associate gets leaked.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And that just turned the whispers into a roar.
That leaked call must have been explosive, especially in the hip-hop community. But Ralo didn't just stay quiet, right? He pushed back.
Oh, he definitely responded.
He offered his explanation for what was in that call, and it was a very specific, kind of legally technical defense. He claimed the info got out not because he was actively cooperating, not because he was snitching, but because of something he called a prosecutor misconduct hearing.
Right, shifting the blame, essentially.
He was basically saying, look, these details came out during a legal proceeding. It was a technicality in his view, not him willingly giving up info. He was really explicit. Denied cooperating with the government, painted it as like involuntary disclosure.
A nuanced argument, legally speaking. Whether the public buys it is another question.
And he didn't just address the call. He went straight to social media, Instagram, other platforms, directly telling his followers, the public, I'm innocent.
Taking his case to the court of public opinion.
Yeah, and criticizing people for judging too quickly, saying things like, everything is not always as it seems, suggesting there was more to it than people understood.
Trying to control the narrative.
He also brought up double standards, claimed other people who had cooperated weren't getting the same heat he was.
That's a common defense tactic, too. Why me?
Right. Expressed a lot of frustration about that perceived unfairness, and he was just adamant, saying he was committed to never lying, never cooperating. So you've got these documents, this leaked call.
The apparent evidence.
And then you have Ralo fiercely pushing back, framing it all as a misunderstanding, a legal technicality, and just flat out denying any breach of loyalty. The tension there is really something.
It really is. And what's fascinating and just so important for understanding this is how deeply these kinds of allegations hit, especially in communities like hip-hop.
Yeah, the impact on his reputation must have been huge.
Oh, immense. His reputation, specifically his street credibility, faced, well, enormous implications. Because in hip-hop, street cred isn't just like a buzzword or for marketing.
No, it's foundational.
It's totally foundational. It's about an artist's image, their authenticity, their acceptance. It means loyalty, sticking to this unwritten code.
The code is silent.
Right, a code that puts a massive premium on not cooperating with law enforcement, not snitching.
So any hint?
Any accusation of cooperating, it can be incredibly damaging, often seen as like the ultimate betrayal of trust. It can really tarnish an artist's image, sometimes permanently. And this whole situation, it sparked these intense debates within the hip-hop community itself, people arguing about the ethics, self-preservation versus these really ingrained standards of loyalty.
Right. Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. You basically saw two camps emerge. On one side, you had people defending Ralo's actions, or at least understanding them, maybe seeing it as a strategic move, maybe even necessary to protect himself when facing, potentially decades in federal prison.
Pragmatism versus principle.
Kind of. They might argue, look, self-preservation is human instinct, and the legal system itself often pushes cooperation for shorter sentences.
Okay, that's one side.
But then the other side, many saw any form of cooperation, forget the legal details, as just a clear breach of trust, a breach of loyalty, an unforgivable act in their world.
No gray area there.
Pretty much. And this really highlights a bigger challenge, doesn't it? It raises that question. How do public figures handle these super complex legal situations where everything's on the line? Well, also trying to keep up this public persona in an industry that demands so much in terms of image, perception, and community rules.
Yeah, it's like walking a tightrope.
Exactly. The stakes are incredibly high legally and culturally, and honestly, the court of public opinion can be way harsher than any actual courtroom.
Absolutely. It's such a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And Rallo's story just perfectly highlights that core challenge, right? Navigating these deep legal problems that crash right into his public image and these really deeply held, almost sacred community standards.
Mm.
His career, his future. It seems like it hangs not just on what the courts decided, but on how he keeps managing the story, how the public ultimately reads his actions. So, what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to make sense of it all when the information is fragmented and people see things so differently?
It's tough to parse.
Yeah. Rollo's story is just this tangled web, isn't it? A legal journey with huge charges, that shocking sentence reduction, and these persistent, very public arguments about cooperation.
All playing out in the spotlight.
All playing out while he's fighting to keep his image, his credibility intact in an industry where those things are just everything. And he has, consistently denied cooperating. He sticks to his explanation. The info came out because of that specific legal thing, the prosecutor misconduct hearing, not because he betrayed anyone.
That distinction is key to his narrative.
It is. But this whole deep dive, it reminds us how much public perception can be shaped by bits and pieces of information, sometimes taken out of context, and how blurry that line can get between, say, strategic self-preservation in a really tough legal spot.
Trying to save yourself.
And what others see as a breach of trust, a fundamental betrayal. It really makes you wonder, in situations like this, where does legal necessity stop and ethical compromise start? And who, at the end of the day, gets to decide?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is it the person under pressure? Is it the community feeling let down? Or is it just us, the public, trying to figure it all out?
Indeed. And, as Ralo moves forward, tries to rebuild his career, how these allegations ultimately settle, whether it's in public opinion, maybe through his music, his actions, that's going to be crucial for his future in the industry. It might even, in a bigger way, make people rethink what loyalty or credibility really mean today, especially when you're up against the immense pressure of the federal justice system. It's a powerful, ongoing lesson in how much narrative and perception matter in our world.